Hello and welcome. My name is Emmett Robbins, and today I'm going to be talking about choosing a crypto wallet and how to keep your crypto seed phrase safe. So, a bit about me. I am a criminology doctoral student at Simon Fraser University in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, where I'm studying fraud victimization, the use of deepfakes, and artificial intelligence in online scams and misinformation. My research centers around basically why people fall victim to scams and how people take actions to protect themselves online. In addition, I'm the co-founder of Robinson Coleman and the creator of Crypto Seed Bank, product, which is a all-in-one kit for crypto users to protect their crypto wallet backups. And hopefully by the end of this presentation, you'll be able to understand this product better. So today I'm aiming to really answer three questions. Firstly, what are the different ways to hold cryptocurrency? Secondly, why are crypto wallets better than exchanges? And thirdly, how do you keep your crypto wallet secure? So crypto exchanges like crypto.com and Coinbase, they're great for buying, selling, and sending cryptocurrency. You can link Apple Pay, you can send e-transfers, link your bank account. They make it really easy to buy Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. However, with these exchanges, there's a number of kind of risks. The first one being that exchange accounts are vulnerable to a range of cyber threats. One example of this is SIM swaps. For example, a crypto owner found that suddenly his phone disconnected from the network and he discovered his bank accounts, his investment accounts, and his crypto exchange drained because somebody had basically impersonated him, called his phone provider, said they lost their phone, and moved his phone number over to the attacker's phone. Then they have his phone number. They try and log into his crypto wallet. He gets a two-factor authentication text and is able to log in. And this person was able to, they were insured for their money, their fiat cash, and their investment portfolio, all those funds drained, but their crypto account was drained and they were not able to recover those funds. That's just one of many types of ways that a crypto exchange account can get hacked. In addition to individual accounts getting attacked, the exchanges themselves can be vulnerable. So there's been a few cases, such as Bybit and Mt. Gox, two exchanges that themselves were hacked, which resulted in the users losing their funds. The exchanges can also be corrupt or go bankrupt, which can result in users losing their funds. Some kind of major examples of this lately have been the exchanges FTX and Celsius, where thousands of users lost access to their crypto. And importantly, the exchange controls your private keys. I'll explain more about private keys and seed phrases later. But basically, what this means is that you don't really control your funds. It feels like you do when you're on an exchange, but at the end of the day, you don't really have much power and control over what happens to your funds. They can be stolen. The exchange can go bankrupt and go under. And ultimately, it's just not a great place to store your crypto for the long term. Crypto wallets, on the other hand, they offer you a lot more sovereignty. You control your private keys and your seed phrase, not the wallet provider. And what that means is that the wallet provider can't freeze your account and they can't drain your funds. And if you had a wallet with, let's say, Exodus or Trezor, and either of those companies went bankrupt, went under, it would not affect your wallet. You'd still be able to restore access to your funds through a different wallet provider, so long as you follow the correct security procedures, which I'll go over. So this offers you a lot more control. But wallets come with risks, mainly that if you're not very careful with how you're using your wallet, you can lose all your funds, and which is irreversible. So you have to be extremely careful when using a crypto wallet. And although they're a lot more safe, user error can lead to irreversible loss of funds. There's two main types of wallets, hot and cold. So a hot wallet is like a phone app, a browser extension, or desktop app. These are digital wallets that are quite fast and convenient. They're free. They're great for small and active balances, and the private keys are stored locally on your phone or your computer, which is much safer than an exchange, but not quite as safe as a cold wallet. These are physical devices that you purchase. where the private keys are generated and stored on the device, not on your computer that you connect it to. And these are the gold standard for long-term crypto holding. You can pretty much guarantee that if you follow the correct procedures when setting up a cold wallet, that you can leave cryptocurrency in there for years and years on end and not touch the account. And when you go and revisit it years down the line, your funds will still be there. Simple analogy for this, for these three different ways of holding crypto: a cold wallet is like keeping your money in a locked safe where only you have the key. Hot wallet is like hiding cash under your mattress, which is going to be safe under most circumstances, but vulnerable if somebody gets into your room. And an exchange is like handing your money to your neighbor and asking them not to steal it. So the bottom line is that exchanges are great for an on and off ramp, i.e., buying and selling and transferring. But a wallet is kind of the best way to, is used as a vault and the best way to hold your crypto in the long term. So when it comes to choosing a wallet, you really don't need to be a tech expert because most of the wallets out there do the same things. There's minor differences, but ultimately they're the same. All you really need to do is some basic research before you choose a wallet. And think of it like this: if you didn't have a bank account, you wanted to get a bank account, if you pick one of the main reputable large banks, Citibank, Wells Fargo, some of them might be better than others, but the reality is that those big banks are trusted, and you probably won't be in much trouble by choosing a large and popular bank. So some questions to ask yourself when choosing a wallet: how long has it existed? Is it brand new? Probably not a good choice if it's brand new. Is there a history of rug pulls, lawsuits, drained wallets, bad press? Has the wallet been recommended across several independent sites? Do you know anyone who's used it? And of course, is it non-custodial? Like, are they holding your keys? So if you search for top wallets, you'll see the same options repeated, and those wallets that you'll see recommended across different sites, most likely is going to be a safe call. As for deciding between a hot wallet and cold, obviously the benefit of a hot wallet is that it's free and easier. Everyone's going to have a different rule of thumb. I would say that if you have more than $1,000 in crypto, you should probably invest in a cold wallet. Some people might have a lower threshold than that, like 100. Other people might have a higher threshold, like 10,000. Just for reference, a cold wallet can run between 80 and 200 plus dollars. My recommendations personally, I've used Exodus and MetaMask hot wallets, so I can personally recommend those. Another trusted option is Trust Wallet. There's a handful of other ones out there that are probably safe to trust. These aren't endorsements, these are just recommendations based on my own personal experience, but you're going to have to do your own research when making that decision. As for cold wallets, my go-to is Trezor. They're the first ever cold wallet, I believe. They've been around for over a decade. There's a lot of different models of the Trezor, and I think they're great. Some other trustworthy options include Blockstream Jade, EliPal, and Arculus. So I've talked a bit about seed phrases, but I'll briefly explain what those are. Basically, a seed phrase is a list of words that serves as your master password to get into your wallet. Some seed phrases are 12, some are 18, 20, 24 words. And what's important to know about a seed phrase is that it's not like a typical password. You can't recover it. There's no forgot password option. If you don't have your seed phrase saved, you can't contact the wallet support and ask them to help you get back into your wallet. Your crypto is gone if your seed phrase is gone. This is the most important password that you'll ever have because you can't recover it and because nobody can help you recover it. So a seed phrase is the wallet itself. So if you buy a Trezor hardware wallet, it'll generate a 24-word seed phrase. You can write down that seed phrase and then put your Trezor wallet in a wood chipper. And if you buy another Trezor wallet, you can press recover existing wallet. You type in your seed phrase into this new wallet and you get your funds back. So the product itself, the physical item itself, isn't your crypto wallet. It's just the thing that generates your seed phrase and allows you to log in and see your balance and make transactions. That that 12, 18, 24 digit sequence of words, that is everything. That is the crux of your long-term crypto holding. And because it's so important, you have to be very, very careful when handling your seed phrase. So every wallet, when you're going through the setup process, will be very clear with the recommendations that you have to write it down. You cannot store it anywhere digitally. So you have to write it down, double, triple, quadruple check the words, and make sure that the order is correct. Keeping it obviously private and out of sight, and storing multiple copies. And as soon as you take a photograph of a seed phrase, as soon as you type it into a notes app or anywhere on your computer, consider that seed phrase dead and buried. You can't trust it again. If it's stored anywhere digitally, it's exposed, and you're going to want to set up a new wallet. Um, so I've done a little demo here. Disclaimer: this is a wallet that I set up solely for the purpose of this demo. I put $1 in Bitcoin onto this new wallet, but because I'm going to show the seed phrase in this demo, I don't expect to get the funds back. You're welcome to take a screenshot of the seed phrase and log in and steal my dollar. Go right ahead. So I'm doing this demo with the Trezor Model 1. This is the original hardware wallet. And when you plug it into your computer, you need to download the Trezor Suite desktop app. If you plug it in, it'll ask you if you've used the device before. Obviously, I clicked yes, I have, because this is an old Trezor of mine rather than one fresh out of the package. Also important to note that when you do pull a new one out of a package, you have to pay attention to the kind of security seals. There's a tamper-proof sticker covering the port on it, and if you see any signs of tampering, you're going to want to contact Trezor and probably not set up that wallet because it could have had malware installed. So after you plug it in, it'll ask you if you want to recover an existing wallet or create a new one. Obviously, like I said, if you had a wallet already, you lost the wallet and you still have the seed phrase, you click recover wallet. But for the purposes of this demo, I'm going to click create a new wallet. Then your wallet is going to, the app is going to give you some advice, walk you through a tutorial on saving a backup. This isn't like a normal tutorial where you can kind of just skip through it. I know this stuff back to front, but when I go through these tutorials, I still read it over every time, even though I know the information. So you really don't want to skip through this tutorial without reading everything it says. In terms of guides, it guides you through the things I talked about, writing it down only, not taking a picture, not typing it into your computer. And once you do that, your Trezor device or your hardware wallet device will will randomly generate a seed phrase and show it to you. So your computer, even though your device is plugged into a computer, your computer doesn't see these words. They're only on the device and then on paper once you write it down. So some tips for writing out your seed phrase: you want to write in uppercase only. Not totally essential, but kind of a good idea. Space your letters out, write super clearly. Wallets like Trezor will come with pieces of paper that have 1 through 24 listed, so you don't need to write the numbers. But if you are writing it just on blank paper, you're going to want to add numbers to the list, because the order is just as important as the words themselves. And if you don't write a word 100% clearly, cross it out and rewrite it. So when I was writing this, I didn't really space the N and the D very well for word number 2. Just crossed it out and rewrote it. If I revisit this in 5 years, there's no doubt in my mind that second word is end. Another important thing to note: all words in seed phrases come from a master list of 2,048 words. And in that list, no 2 words start with the same 4 letters. So what that means is you only need to write the first 4 letters, or 3 if there's only 3 letters. Because if you write MEAS, there's only one possible word that could be: measure. So you only need to write the first 4 letters. But important to note that 4 letters only does not mean abbreviate. So if you had the word observe generated in your seed phrase, you can't just write OBSR as an abbreviation, because looking at the screenshot on the right, there's in the master list of possible seed words, there's obscure and observe. Both of those have OBSR in them, and you don't want to end up confused what you meant by OBSR. So if you had observe, you would want to write OBSE. So after you go through and you write down all of the words, your wallet is going to make you double check them. It's going to say, please check the first word, please check the second word. So you go through meticulously and make sure that you wrote them all down correctly. After that, your wallet is going to ask you to set a PIN. And just like the seed phrase, your computer doesn't know what the PIN is. Your computer just tells you if the PIN's been entered correctly. So your Trezor device will show you a grid of numbers 1 through 9 in a random order, and then on your computer you type in you click on the corresponding blank cell. So if you're wanted to start your PIN with 4, you'd click the top middle because it's 4 is in the top middle spot on the Trezor device. And after you type it in, the grid is going to rearrange. So comparing the screenshot on the left to the right, you can see that 4 is in the middle on the picture on the right. So when you re-enter your PIN, you're punching it in on a different order on your computer screen. So this is a strong added layer of security where even if somebody is somehow able to see exactly what's on your computer screen, they wouldn't see your PIN. They would just see you click on these blank cells on your screen. Good idea to choose a PIN that is 6+ characters, and also important to note that if you lose your physical wallet and you buy a new wallet and you go to enter your seed phrase, you don't need your PIN. Your PIN is specific to the physical Trezor itself, but not essential for restoring the wallet when you punch in the seed phrase. Trezor devices will ask you if you want to enable labeling. I don't do this. It's something you can look into if you'd like, but not essential to do. And now that your seed phrase and your PIN are set up, the best thing to do next isn't to start transacting. It's to triple check your seed phrase by going into settings, clicking device, and selecting wallet backup. So this allows you to enter the seed phrase onto your Trezor device, and it'll then tell you if you did it correctly or not. It's a simulated check. This is the best way to check that your wallet works or your seed phrase is correct without taking any risk, because if you get it wrong, it's not like you're locked out. This is really important because I'll tell you that I had my own funds on this Trezor device that I have photos of in the demo, and I factory wiped it so that I could set up this new wallet, which means that I can't get back into my existing wallet until I type in the seed phrase. And I only felt comfortable doing this because I'm 200% sure that I can restore my own real wallet with my real funds using my seed phrase, because in addition to double checking it and triple checking it, I went through the wallet backup. So this is how you gain that extra confidence that, hey, I wrote down my seed phrase and I'm 200% sure that I wrote it down correctly. When you're doing a wallet backup, you're going to want to click advanced rather than standard recovery. It takes a little bit longer. It's a bit more tedious as you have to kind of go through this process of clicking on blank cells and coordinating them with what's appearing on your Trezor. It takes 10, 15 minutes. It's a bit easier on some of the newer items. This one is over 10 years old and a bit more simplistic. Some of the new ones have touchscreens. So again, it's a bit of a tedious process, but it's definitely worth it to be totally sure that you have your seed phrase correct. Once you've done that, your Trezor should tell you that you're assuming that you did it right. It'll tell you that your backup test worked, and the next step now is to switch to something that is safer than paper. And the reason that we're switching to something safer than paper is because paper seed phrase is only as good as your house is not flooded or not on fire. If your house was to burn down, that piece of paper would burn down and you would not be able to recover your wallet. In this assumption, I'm assuming that your seed phrase and your wallet itself would both be destroyed in the fire. And there's only 21 million Bitcoins that'll ever be in circulation. And it's believed that over 3 million of those Bitcoins are permanently out of circulation because of user error, because of lost seed phrases. So if you're keeping your seed phrase on paper and your house burns down, you won't be able to get it back. You might have the best insurance around, everything else in your house might be covered, but your seed phrase, your crypto, you can't recover that. If you had all your passwords for all your online accounts written down on paper, it would be a tedious process, but you would be able to click forget password, go through a recovery process, and get back into your Gmail, your bank account, all that stuff. Again, the same doesn't apply for your crypto. Once it's burned, it's gone. The only person to have it was you, and if you let it burn or flood, then you're out of luck. And also, paper's small, paper's thin, paper's easy to lose. People have accidentally thrown out their seed phrases. Maybe they're doing spring cleaning, throwing things out that are in their desk drawer, and they accidentally throw out a piece of paper that had their seed phrase. A couple pretty high profile cases. One person, this was 2021, it said he had lost $320 million of Bitcoin, but I believe the number's quite a bit higher now as the value of Bitcoin has increased. And you don't want to end up like this. And, you know, trusting a piece of paper in your desk is a bit of a risk. So rather than paper, the best thing to use is stainless steel, because stainless steel is waterproof, rustproof, and fireproof. So if you look at this photo on the right, I took a blowtorch, I burned this metal card, and it gets charred. The paint melts away, but the words are still visible. Unless you stored the stainless steel card next to like thermite or something, it would be fine. It can withstand heat much higher than the heat that a house fire reaches. Again, this is my product that I'm promoting here, Crypto Seed Bank, and I would love for you to buy it. But if you don't, I would prefer that you buy from a competitor or follow a DIY guide. I won't be offended. I just think it's super important that everybody has this. And as much as I'd like to have everybody's business, I'd prefer that everybody stays safe, even if that means picking a competitor over me. So you can find a wide range of similar products on Amazon and other stores. And these are essential for anyone who has a crypto wallet and anyone who would be upset if they lost their crypto wallet. But with the Crypto Seed Bank, it comes with 2 cards and a tungsten tip pen. Each card has letter stencils on the top and bottom, which allows you to kind of bubble in each letter and clearly, legibly engrave each letter into the steel. Even light markings into the steel, as long as you're applying a bit of pressure, these thin lines that are engraved into the steel will not disappear, even if they're become red hot, and even if all that black paint melts away, they'll still be visible in the previous photo I showed. So after you finish engraving all the words, your final product will look something like this. There's a little cell at the bottom of the underneath the words. On the top card there, it says main wallet, and on the bottom one, it says BTC Trezor, just a spot for you to write an extra note. And because it kind of takes some time to engrave, it's a bit slower than writing with pen and paper. This is when you might want to just engrave the first 4 letters, because just to save yourself some time. Because again, you only need those first 4 letters of each of the words. So just to make an important distinction, just because it's durable doesn't mean it's secret. So this metal backup will protect you against fire, floods, time, but it's not theft proof. If somebody steals it, they have all your crypto. You do have to be careful in terms of where you're hiding your metal backup. But metal is easier to hide. You can bury it in your yard. You can put it in the top tank of your toilet. Not that I'm recommending that. You can leave it in a box in your basement, and even if your basement floods, you're not going to lose your crypto. Whereas if it was a piece of paper, you probably wouldn't want to bury that, and you definitely wouldn't want to put it in the top of your toilet. And yeah, if your basement flooded, you'd lose it. So although it's not theft proof, it gives you some kind of wider range of options in terms of where to put this item to keep it long term and not have to worry about environmental disasters resulting in you losing your crypto. Okay, so at this point, you've double checked and triple checked that your seed phrase is correct, and you've engraved your seed phrase onto stainless steel. So that means that this wallet is now secure and you can trust it and you can start to make transactions. So, as I said, exchanges are a great on ramp. So, I'm going to kind of go over how to use a hardware wallet like a Trezor, kind of in conjunction with a crypto exchange. So, you go on your crypto exchange, you buy some Bitcoin, and then you click on the Bitcoin and you can click withdraw to external wallet. The wording might differ on different exchanges, but it'll generally give you the option to withdraw crypto on an exchange and send it to an external wallet. So going back to your Trezor, in the top right, you can click receive. Um, that will bring up an address, a receive address. And this is important. You have to, it'll show you this address on your computer screen and then also on your Trezor device. And you have to look closely and double check that all the characters are matching. So you read through it, BC1Q, then you look at your Trezor, BC1Q, look at the next four digits, YG7H, look at your Trezor, YG7H. You have to look closely, you have to pay really close attention. It's not a fun process, but it's really important because if you make one error, if there's one character wrong, then when you send the transaction, the money's gone. It just goes into the void. So you do that, you verify that it's all the same, and then you can copy and paste it from your computer into your exchange when you've clicked withdraw to external wallet. You can also scan the QR code, and I often just double check it again, and I look at the address that's on the right there in my exchange, and I'll double check that the wallet address that's in there matches the wallet address that's shown on my Trezor suite. And it may seem silly to check again, especially when you've scanned a QR code and you've just read through it. But again, with just one character wrong, the funds are gone. So if you're sending funds, especially if you're sending an amount that you'd be upset if you lost, double checking is kind of your last line of defense. Another reason why this is important is something called address poisoning. So scammers will send small transactions from an address that looks almost identical to one that you've used. And they hope that when you log onto your Trezor, you just copy and paste the fake address rather than the real address. What people often do, and kind of cut corners, is when they're looking at their address, they just look at the first four characters and the last four characters. So they'll just check BC1Q and then look at the end XOZ5WE, but they don't notice that some of the characters in the middle are different, and then they end up sending their crypto to a criminal rather than to themselves. So once you've double checked, triple checked, send a small transaction first. Let's say you're trying to send $100, send $1 first, or if there's a higher minimum on your wallet, send whatever that is. So maybe $5 or $10. This is pretty normal. Most people do this. They send a little test transaction and then they send the rest. Important to note with Bitcoin, some wallets at least will generate a new fresh address every time. Most other cryptos, it just gives you the same address now as it would in 6 months. Usually what I will do is I will send it to an address, and then when I go and click receive again, I'll send a test transaction, and then I'll send the full transaction to that same address. So I would, rather than clicking fresh address, I would click the one below there because I've just used that. I know that it worked. So I send my full transaction there. And then when I go to make a transaction months later, I'll just use a fresh address. So I'll talk about one more security measure when it comes to crypto wallets, and that is a passphrase wallet, otherwise known as a 25th word. So with Trezor and other hardware wallets, they give you the option to click add a passphrase wallet. And this is a word that you can choose, or doesn't need to be one word. It can be multiple words and numbers and exclamation points. And when you type those into passphrase wallet, it unlocks a completely separate hidden wallet within your wallet. So same seed phrase, but by adding adding in this passphrase to this section, you get a whole fresh set of Bitcoin address, Ethereum address, anything you want within that same wallet. They're going to provide you with a little tutorial, not the kind of thing you want to skip. So keeping this off the cloud, not taking pictures of it. They recommend storing it separately from your seed phrase, also known as your wallet backup. So if I created a dummy one here called Maryland 2026 exclamation mark. And unlike your seed phrase, your passphrase is case sensitive. So you have to be mindful of that. And the purpose of this is that it's just an extra layer of security. So if somebody found your seed phrase, it would open up your wallet. But if you had a passphrase wallet and your passphrase wasn't written with your seed phrase, then they wouldn't be able to see that. So you could have, let's say, if you had $1,000 in crypto, you left 100 on your main wallet and 900 on your passphrase wallet. So somebody has your seed phrase, they can get that $100, but they can't get the other 900 without your passphrase. One potential application is if you're under duress. So somebody breaks in, they demand your crypto, you can give them your seed phrase, but they won't find the passphrase. But please take that with a grain of salt. Your life is worth more than your crypto. I'm not explicitly recommending holding out and keeping this passphrase. Don't risk your life or trade your life for your crypto. It's not worth it. So this is one potential use case, but you want to think very, very carefully before attempting to use a passphrase wallet for this reason. Another kind of trade-off, just like your seed phrase, there's no forgot password option. So if you lose that passphrase, your funds are gone. So you have to be careful with how you're backing that up and storing it. And additionally, if you let's say you just memorize your passphrase, just one word, right? You can just memorize that. You could forget it, one head injury and you forget it. And also, when you die, I assume that most people would want their kids or their family to be able to access their crypto after they die, whoever's in their will. But if all of your crypto is in a passphrase wallet and you don't provide that passphrase to anybody, even if they have your seed phrase, they won't be able to access your funds. I think that Jackie is involved in the crypto estate planning. So when it comes to planning for you die, you really want to think carefully about how you're handling your seed phrase and whether it's worth using a passphrase wallet. So just to conclude, I'll kind of run through a few habits that keep you safe. Reiterating, always send test transactions before sending a full amount when you're moving crypto around, and always double check the addresses. It's worth it. It takes 30 seconds and it's tedious, but it is worth it to be 100% confident that you're not sending your funds to the wrong place. Have a clear inheritance plan so your family can access your funds when you're gone, and there's no confusion, and that you're not making an error and which results in your family not being able to get into a wallet and access those funds. Pretty common to split your holdings up into a few different wallets. Most people who have been in the crypto space for a while will, they won't put all their eggs in one basket. If you have 1,000 in crypto, they might have 300 in one wallet and 700 in the other. This is a kind of common thing to do. And it's important to buy your hardware wallet from licensed distributors rather than Amazon. So for example, with Trezor, you can buy your Trezor from their official website. They also have a list of distributors that you can purchase from in-person stores and online stores. It's generally recommended to avoid using Amazon because in theory, somebody could go into an Amazon warehouse, maybe a worker, be in the Amazon warehouse and crack open a hardware wallet package and install malware. So the idea is that an Amazon warehouse isn't as secure for a hardware wallet as the Trezor official store or one of their other licensed distributors. So it's best to buy it from the source itself. And lastly, generally, you should always try and prioritize safety now rather than waiting for it's too late. There's a lot of people who will only start to think about checking transactions and double checking their addresses after they've already sent money and they didn't check, and then they lost the funds. They missed one character in their send address, or the receive address rather, and they sent $1,000 and it never arrived because they missed a character. After that, they'll start to double check. Other people, they don't, they keep their seed phrase on the notes app on their phone, and then their wallet gets drained. Suddenly now they're taking it seriously and they're writing it down. So it's important not to wait until it's too late. Right? To be proactive, start to take it seriously now, go through these steps, some of which are quite tedious now, and build those habits and avoid losing money altogether rather than waiting to get burned before you start to take it seriously. If you want your own crypto seed bank, the QR code on the left links to my website where you can buy it. There's a code blockchain 2026 that'll give you 10% off. And the code on the right allows you to buy it from Amazon. Hope you've all enjoyed my presentation, and good luck in your crypto journeys. Thank you.